What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 91. And this is part one of our week review. With us this evening, first off from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, how are you feeling this evening coming out of week 20? Sorry.
I feel like I got run over by a truck, and the truck's name was Joe Schubert. In fact, I told you this off air. My team this week was the London Silly Nannies, and they saw the New England Patriots running towards them, and they ran the other way and got out of Dodge because they were like, "Nope, we want no part of this," and did nothing all week. So that's how I feel. I think my season is pretty much officially done as far as the playoffs go, but I'm still here having fun and ready to talk baseball with you boys.
We will definitely be talking about our matchup here this evening. And the gentleman who did the research for our matchup is with us as well. Coming back again, Mike Haber. Mike, thanks for being here with us, cutting out some time for us, man. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 weeks in a row. I feel like I'm on a little roll here. But yeah, thrilled to be back talking with you guys. This is a crazy time. I don't think our league has ever really seen this where like there's nobody who's like running away with it, and it's like really, really exciting to watch right now. We've got some awesome matchups coming up in week 21. I had a lot of fun doing research for your matchup. Um, Jason, sorry, it was kind of a rough one for you there.
It wasn't fun for all of us.
Yeah, yeah.
It was fun
But
for one of us.
you guys made it easy on me with good benchings and stuff like that. So I'm happy to be back and excited to talk a couple matchups with you guys.
All right. Well, let's dive into this thing. Let's get this thing started and let's get this conversation out of the way. We're going to take care of James McCloskey and Josh Haber this week. Now, the thing we have about this matchup, and it's automatically apparent, is that James missed the minimum here, and he missed it for the second time this season. And it's just a coincidence that he does it to the other Haber brother. What's more disappointing here is that it's done to another team in the playoff hunt, and it hurts everybody and ripples effects just a bit here. Now, the question we have, and the question I have to ask you guys, and I've asked on many members of the big, so I wanted to get everybody's insight here, and I'm going to start with Mike. Is 42 too high, too difficult? Is it something that we need to alter?
From my objective perspective here, I think 42 is perfect. I think that there's a challenge to get there, but if you have diligent managers who are keeping up, or managers that aren't that diligent but solidify their roster enough where they can get those innings, it's attainable, but still something you have to think about. And I think that's the goal, is how do we make this a challenge, but also obviously attainable so that we don't have managers that miss the minimum. So for me personally, I think you can construct your roster in a way where 42 is optimal. But again, that's just my personal opinion. I don't think we have to go up or down from that number.
Feeling like it's perfect is also some of the feedback that I'm getting, and I'm getting the feeling that maybe this is a kind of circumstantial. This is going to be. It's a circumstantial miss of the minimum here. Jason, you and I were looking at this before we went live, and you have spoken in the past about James's roster construction. I'm gonna bring you in here and just sort of have you reiterate all that we were talking about off air.
Yeah, so he carries a very heavy bullpen, a lot of relievers, and I've seen it in past weeks where he can't get them all in because there's not enough slots in the roster. So he's got to play the game of which reliever is not going to come in today, and more times than not, he's leaving relief pitching stats on the bench. So far, other than week 4 against Mike, it hasn't caused him to miss the minimum, but it has caused him to miss innings, miss relief appearances, miss strikeouts. And in this case, it really hurt him. He every single day this week, except for Monday and Thursday, the short days, he had at least one reliever on the bench with stats, and that's a hard game to play because again, you're wondering, okay, is Abner Uribe coming in today? No, I'm gonna bench him. Like it's almost impossible unless a guy has thrown 2 days in a row. He's almost certainly not coming in the third day in a row. But aside from that, it's really hard to tell if a guy is going to come in from the bullpen or not. You really don't know. So to carry more relievers than you have spots for is a risky game to play, in my opinion.
Here's the thing that I looked at, and I did the research for this matchup. I was watching it most of the week, and when we talk about the circumstances that went into creating this storm, we talk about poor performance, benching obviously of these relievers because there was one on Friday, one on Saturday, one on Friday, one on Sunday. Jason just pointed it out every day but Monday and Thursday. So the outs were there to be had. He missed it by 2 outs. Carlos Carrasco was terrible. Adrian Hauser got pulled with an injury. And I understand that there's something that Ben specifically, who is not with us this evening, wanted me to touch on here. And specifically, that communication was being had since Friday between Ben and James about missing the minimum. Looking at what we have here, and we'll dive into it when we do his individual transactions and whatnot. But what I want to speak is at a macro level. If you miss the minimum and you haven't used all of your moves, at what point is it no longer circumstantial because of what happened over the week? Or you understand what I'm trying to ask, Mike?
I do. And
Okay.
I think you bring up a good point in that a lot of his like last resorts were very circumstantial as far as like you just mentioned someone being Adrian Hauser being pulled from it for an injury, Carrasco not getting through as many innings. But at the same time, I think all circumstances aside, if you are taking up that strategy of inching to the minimum, which we've seen many managers do, you need to have pieces in place as backups. As I'm not even gonna like leave it to chance here. I'm gonna throw 4 starters on Sunday. I'm gonna make sure I add a couple on Friday who I know are starting Sunday just in case, and maybe even some relievers from the night game. I want to mention as well here that he has a huge bullpen, but look at his relief appearances from the week. He has 14, which honestly, in my opinion, is actually pretty low. So like you have a really full bullpen, yet you only have 14 relief appearances, and that's a little puzzling to me. And for me personally, that's management, and that's just not playing the right guys and not having enough to back it up.
There's so many other circumstances that went into this. You got a Kenley Jansen 1 out relief appearance that appears because he was injured for part of the week and they held him out. Abner Uribe, you mentioned him, Jason. He did show up and walked all 3 of the batters that he faced, could not get an out, and gave up a whole bunch of runs. Like, there's so much that went into this existing that the fact that he misses it by 2 outs is just A, heartbreaking, and B, league changing. That's a good way to spin forward toward what happened this week. But before I do, I wanted to read a couple of other members that I got here, and maybe they bring up some things that we haven't thought about. The one that the biggest one, thank you, Henry, for getting back to me. He says, I think 42 is a good number because you have to work for it. If you miss the minimum, it's a risk you take if you want to inch to the minimum that you'll potentially lose all those stats. If you're worried about blowing your ERA or whip, being selective with your starters is a valid strategy, but it's high risk. 6 innings a day isn't much, but if you screw the pooch, you really screw the pooch. Or anything there that you guys want to comment on, Jason?
I would say the one thing that really, and that we haven't really touched on here, and I think this kind of lends itself to that a little bit, is James missing the minimum here, yes, while that he lost out on all those stats, that meant that Josh got all those stats and is going to ultimately probably affect the playoff landscape. As we know, the playoffs have been incredibly tight all season long. So something like this is, kind of throwing a little bit of a hand grenade into the mix that none of us saw coming. And, so yes, while James is the, he takes the hit by not getting those stats, it does affect, 6 or 7 other teams based on how things fall for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. James, in this sense, probably ended his playoff chances by missing this minimum. But that's not the only that looks at this and goes, shit, my season might be over because of this. One of the people whose season might be over because of other things, Costas mentioned, I like 42 because you still have to have some semblance of a starting rotation. Maybe 45, I wouldn't go down because you lose the integrity of the starters, hence the connection to the major leaguers. So you want to be able to have a full rotation at 42. He brings up an interesting point that Ben has alluded to in the past, and that's movement upwards to 45. If we're having these issues already, should this be something that we do? And the argument I've been making all season that kind of ties into this about having 12 moves being too many. Should we up the minimum and lower the moves next year? Mike, I'll start with you.
My answer is no. I don't think anything needs to change. I think it's enough of a challenge. I think every season in the past couple of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think someone has missed the minimum every year. I could be wrong, but since we've had a minimum, I'm pretty sure someone has missed it. And so managers are still struggling to get there. Now, the 10 ads, I just don't necessarily understand why we would make that change. I don't think that the 12 ads is hurting anyone. I think that like the idea of 2 ads for like a 6-day period, I don't know. I don't see why. And so fixing something that isn't broken doesn't really make a ton of sense to me.
You feel like it's not broken, so don't fix it?
Correct.
Jason, you feeling the same way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I could see a case for maybe, playing with some of the categories themselves, if we want to tinker with things. But I think ultimately this league has thrived this long, and I think we're at a point where the formula is kind of working. Yes, I know people are missing the minimum here and there, but I think overall, like, we see a lot of guys who don't even make any ads or make 1 or 2 ads a week. So I don't know that we need to necessarily change it. I mean, if we want to bring it down, that's what we do, and we'll make it work. But I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to bring down the minimum, bring down the ads, and I don't think we need to increase the minimum. I think the formula is working the way it is.
The formula is perfect is also the ironically the sentiment of one Josh Haber in this. I spoke with him as well, and he said I wouldn't change a thing. It's perfect right now. So that begs my final question: Is and Mike, you kind of brought this up in saying like it's at least somewhat feasible in the last, at least in recent memory, that one person misses the minimum once a season. Does that mean that missing the minimum is just part of this league?
I, oh, that's a great question. I think missing the minimum is it is part of this league. You don't want to, obviously, you don't want to be that one person, but at the same time, the fact that that even exists and that's a possibility, it should scare all of us. Like that's the point of it, right? Is that it should scare us into throwing enough starters. Because if you look at James right here, if he throws in like if he picks up 3 more starters, 2 more starters, he still is going to win walks given up, home runs given up, losses. He's going to win all those. So is it worth
Here's the other side of this: is Josh only picking up all of these dudes because he knows that James needs to get them to get the minimum? Like, is there part of that strategy with it? And is that a viable strategy to try to, okay, you want to inch to the minimum, I'm going to try to fuck you over?
I think on a Sunday that's a viable strategy. I don't think you want to start doing that on Thursday and Friday. Like, let me get all the starters here. But if that was Josh's Sunday strategy, then it's just gravy if you get that fourth win. You know what I mean? Because I know that he was pushing for the wins category. It didn't matter, but I think it was sort of a double, like, all right, I'm going to pick up all the starters. That way James won't make it, and I could get that win. So it was a good strategy.
Yeah. Jason, is missing the minimum just something that is going to happen or should happen in this league? Is it just part of the league, or is this something that we need to make sure never happens every year?
I tend to agree with Mike. I think it's just something that's going to happen. If it happens, it happens. It sucks. It sucks, and I've been on the receiving end of somebody missing the minimum. And no, that's not how you want to win a week, especially here at the end of the season when the playoff race is so tight. It's not how you probably want to win it. But at the same time, are you upset about it? If you're Josh Haber, are you going, damn, I really wish he made the minimum? Like, I don't think he is. And if that's what happened to James this week, that's what happened. And it's going to impact the race. It's going to impact a lot of things. It's part of the season. It's part of the league. There's nothing more we can do about it other than lowering the minimum, which I don't think we need to do.
Exactly. I don't think lowering the minimum is the answer. I don't think raising the number of ads is the answer. I don't think any kind of change in roster construction would have fixed this issue unless you're adding relief pitchers to this roster, and that's only to accommodate James McCloskey's roster construction. That's not going to work. So I think a lot of really weird circumstances came together all in one week where roster construction, injury, poor performance, and maybe a little bit of poor management comes all together into 2 outs away from the minimum, and he blew it.
Yeah.
Let's dive all the way into this thing. Now, 4 close categories. James wins by the double, 3 homers, and 4 ticks on the batting average. Josh wins by 2 runs, a triple, a stolen base, and an error. They did not tie in anything. And I won't go over the pitching stats because, again, James doesn't qualify. For James on his bench this week, gentlemen, it's a 16 for 43.
Jesus.
Well, that's not good.
No.
Jason,
No, it was
all
not.
you.
God, 16. I don't know. 354.
It was a very big 372 with 11 runs, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, 2 steals, a walk, 13 strikeouts, and the error. The 11 runs plays as he loses that by 2, and the 2 stolen bases would have flipped that category. For his moves this week, he drops Jacob Junis, adds Danny Jansen, who gets benched. He drops Danny Jansen for Patrick Corbin, 6 innings, a win, 2 bombs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 450, and a 167. He drops Patrick Corbin for Brett Kennedy. Now, Brett Kennedy was supposed to be the opener in Arizona. Wait a moment. He drops Hunter Renfroe for Fernando Cruz, an inning in the third, 4 strikeouts, and an 075 whip. Well done. An inning in the third, and he gets all 4 of them by strikeout. Very nice. He then drops Brett Kennedy same day for Carlos Carrasco, an inning and 2/3, a loss, a homer, a strikeout, a 27, and a 420. And this is one of the things that Ben was harping on, that he was pushing him to pick up this guy because he felt like he was going to miss the minimum. There were conversations back and forth, and that's something that I want to leave for Ben to have a conversation about at another time. I just want to let everyone know that conversations were being had between Ben and James to try to get him to the minimum. And I think I'll just leave that there and let him have that conversation in that time. That being said, he then dropped Carlos Carrasco and Fernando Cruz, and on Sunday added Bailey Falter, 4 2/3, a loss, a homer, a walk, 3 strikeouts, 11.57 and a 171, and added Adrian Hauser, 2 innings, 2 bombs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and 18 in the 250, and gets pulled with an injury, and that was the cursed finish to this week as he misses it by 2 outs. His most valuable player this week is Shohei Ohtani, 278 and a 458, 5 runs, 3 doubles, a triple, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 steals, 6 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a partridge in a pear tree. This guy has been the absolute best #2 overall draft pick you could possibly think of. But Sean Murphy has not been all that great this week. 100 with a 250, a run, an RBI, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. The Cy Young I'll give to Brandon Woodruff, 6 innings, 11 strikeouts at 150 and a 1. And the Cy Yuck I have to give to Adrian Hauser since he got bombed out of his start and is now on the IL with what did he actually get pulled with? An elbow issue? Yeah, that sucks. He's not going to throw another second after he has an elbow issue. All right, Mike, this one's for you. Josh on his bench this week, a 2 for 16.
1 for 8, which is, something. I should know this, right?
Should.
I see. Give the easy one to the teacher.
You lost
for
the
8.
non-existent coin flip before the show.
125.
It is, in fact, 125. With 4 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. And the only thing that actually plays is the 2 errors that would have flipped the category. So good job, Josh. Way to keep those out of your lineup. All 12 ads this week from him. He dropped Sam Hentges for Zach Littell, 5 1/3, a homer, a walk, 6 strikeouts, a 675 and a 150. He dropped Elias Diaz for Gabriel Moreno, 0 for 4 with a run and a strikeout, and dropped Alex Young. He dropped Littell for Gavin Williams, 4 1/3, a loss, a homer, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 1038 and a 231. And dropped Bobby Miller for Kyle Hendricks, 5 2/3, a loss, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 318 and a 124. He dropped AJ Smith Shawver for Ryan Pepio, 4 innings, a win, a homer, 6 strikeouts, a 225 and an 075 and a relief appearance. It was a bulk relief appearance for Pepio. Very nicely done there. Dropped Jeff Hoffman, dropped Adrian Palante for Cole Irvin, 6 innings, a 6 ERA and a 117. He dropped Nick Lodolo and Pablo Reyes for Brian Wu. That was for today. He added Chase Silseth, 3 1/3, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 540 and a 120. Added Tanner Houck, 4 innings and a loss. Dropped Silseth for Peterson, 7 innings. Dropped Cole Irvin for Alex Faedo, 4 2/3 and a loss. And dropped Kyle Hendricks for Alec March, 5 2/3 and a loss. All those 4 were on Sunday. Those last 4, Houck, Peterson, Faedo, and March, all 4 of them on Sunday. I guarantee you he was doing this to try to block Jim. Like, I guarantee you. You can't tell me otherwise.
I think you're right. I think you're right. The writing's on the wall there.
And here's the thing. I did nothing wrong. Like, there's nothing that says he had to leave these guys out there for James to pick up. And then who's to say James is even going to pick any of them up? He already had his 2 guys. It's just his guy got hurt.
Yeah.
For Josh's key players, his MVP is Cody Bellinger. He hit 290 with a 313, 5 runs, 3 doubles, 11 RBI, a steal, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Mike Haber, how much money do you think the Yankees will throw at him in this offseason since he becomes a free agent?
I have 2 answers. One of them is I would love that, and the other one is I don't think they'll do it unless they get rid of Brian Cashman.
Because there's room for him in center field.
Oh, yeah. He's better than anyone we have on our team right now. So
the least valuable hitter this week, Xander Bogaerts, 150 with a 150, a run, a homer, an RBI, 7 strikeouts, and an error. The Cy Young, Jason, tell me about Carlos Rodon and 10 and 2/3. 2 homers, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, a 2.53 and a 1.13. He's back and looking somewhat healthy.
Yeah. I still stand by the trade. We both have had injury woes with either side of the trade, so I'm okay with it.
Okay. And the Cy Young is James Paxton, wherever the hell he is. 8 1/3, a loss, 2 bombs, 8 walks, 8 strikeouts, a 1080 and a 252. Gross. Guys, we've touched on a lot here in this opening matchup. The questions that we have that remain and that I think the rest of the league need to ask themselves are, should we go up with the innings? Should we go down with the ads? Is everything perfect? And most importantly, that I think came up here is this just part of the league? Is that this happens once a year or twice a year and it affects the outcome? It's part of the story. Is that what we want? I don't have the answer.
The other thing and not to completely bypass that, but I do want to hit on the week that Josh did put up, aside from getting the pitching stats because of the missed minimum. Like, he had a good week, and he made the moves. Look, both of them, like, you're rambling off the ads that they did make. The pitchings that they added, none of them worked. All except for maybe David Peterson. Like, none of them worked. So, but it was just I don't know. It was just interesting the way that worked. But I do want to give credit to Josh for making those moves, doing what he needed to do to secure the win. And yeah, it was it to block James from getting those innings. Maybe, and if it was, well, that's the strategy, and I don't think that, like you said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that's part of the game.
I'll close this out with what Josh had told me. He said, and I finally had a great comeback on Sunday, and it's going to be overshadowed by missing the minimum. Because Josh did have a really good Sunday, and he does make a great
Yeah.
comeback here to make it what I think would have been 11-9 or 11-10, but it ends up being 15-6 after the missed minimum. And that could be the difference in somebody else's season, and that sucks. But is that part of this league? That's what I want to hear from all of you guys. Let's move on. Mike Haber, you did the ultimate research for this week, the most awesome matchup that ever happened ever. And for the second year in a row, I, sir, have ended Jason Ashby's season. Jason, I'm sorry, man. I really am.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If it's gonna happen, I'm happy to have it happen to one of you guys. You guys are my good friends here, so you know what? This was a fun ride, and now I'm ready to just take the consolation bracket by storm.
Yeah.
Mike, read it off for us, buddy.
All right. So Joe takes down a 17-4 victory over Jason. Close categories, you guys made it super easy on me. Joe, you won by 2 stolen bases. Nothing else was close. Jason won by a triple and an error. Nothing else was close. And you did not tie in anything. So thank you guys for that. Joe, on your bench, you went 7 for 34.
Ooh, so close to that 200. I'll go 208.
206. Nice.
Ooh.
Very close. You left 5 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 5 walks, 12 strikeouts, and 2 errors. So none of that plays at all. For your ads this week, Joe, you used all 12. And 3 of those were hitters, 1 was a starter, and 8 were relief pitchers. Which, I mean, do you want to talk on that for a second? You won by 4 relief appearances, but were you feeling it on Sunday? Was it close?
No. I mean, I had 19 of them going in. I knew I had Gratterall in the bag from the suspended game to get me to 20, and I think I was up 5, and I'm just going, well, if he flips that, A, he's going to need to have a really big day, and all of his relievers are going to have to get in.
Yeah.
And B, okay, then it's 16-5.
Right.
I'm not going to sweat that.
So was the 8 8 relievers added, was that just to get to the 42? Was that part of the like inching?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And just to not to belabor the James McCloskey thing, but here you are with 42 and a third innings. Like that
43
was
and a third after the Gratterall
well,
suspension.
okay, but
Yes, I
he's
stopped
still
right at 42 and a third.
yeah,
After
like
Friday.
like this was the epitome of sneaking across the minimum and doing it flawlessly. This is how you do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, all 12 ads used. For your MVP this week. Everyone. No, we're gonna highlight Mookie Betts, who went an astronomical 16 for 26 this week, which is a 615 average and a 655 on base, 9 runs, 4 doubles, a homer, 7 RBIs, 2 steals, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and an error. Okay.
You want to know what stats came back into this line after the suspended game additions were in?
Which one?
It was 5 for 5 with a double and a run and 2 RBIs or something ridiculous, and I'm just like, oh, that hurts even more to Jason. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
like it.
um,
Those numbers were ridiculous before that 5 for 5. So
I also want to apologize for Kyle Schwarber's performance. I just want to like apologize to everyone because Kyle Schwarber went off this week too with 4 bombs and 6 RBIs.
what about Randy Rosarena stealing 3 bases on Sunday to flip that fucking category? That was necessary.
He was just mad at the Yankees for throwing at him. That's what that boiled down to. He was like,
Well, I don't care. Hit a home run then.
On Sunday. He couldn't. He got hit in the ribs. So, all right, you put me on. I'm going to steal second and third and get mad at you.
Yeah. Your least valuable player, Joe, was no one. But again, we have to highlight someone. So let's call on Brian Reynolds, who hit 194 this week with a 219 on base. But I mean, the 4 doubles, like that's not a least valuable.
RBIs and a steal. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I mean if that's your least valuable hitter, I think anyone.
Jordan Walker didn't do anything for me either. He's just sort of sitting at the end of my bench these days.
Yeah,
I keep poking him with a stick every Thursday or Monday, going, "Can you do something?" And he does. Like he'll go 1 for 4 with a double and 2 strikeouts, like he did this week for me. And I'm like, "All right, you get to stick around another week, buddy." Like,
and that's how you get 23 doubles in a week, and I get 8.
That was the record for this week for this season. Is most in a 7-day week was 23. 54 runs, also the most in a 7-day week.
Good Lord. Good Lord, I'm sorry, Jason.
My runs, I had 23 runs. My runs tied your doubles.
I got the second base off the bat as many times as your guys crossed the plate.
Yeah, that.
See, there was one tie. Okay. Kind of. For your Cy Young this week, we're gonna highlight another Frank Bucco edition in Steven Strider. Why not? 7 innings, a win. What? Spencer
Strider, not Steven.
What did I
Strider.
say? Did I say Steven?
You did.
Yeah. Well, Steven Strider. It's better than Susan, which I called him last year. 7 innings, a win, a walk, 9 strikeouts, a 1.29 ERA, and a 0.57 WHIP. So that's an impressive start there, but that's business as usual for Strider. I
also want to thank Seth Lugo for his 6 shutout innings that started the week. Welcome back to the team, Boomerang. Let's
Cy Young, we only have 2 pitchers that gave up some semblance of runs, and Pablo Lopez is one of them. So that's 5 innings. He did give up 3 bombs, so he is the Cy Young this week, with a 9 ERA and a 2.20 WHIP.
Yeah, those 3 bombs in that terrible outing was after 1, 2, 3 straight shutout performances of 7, 6, and 6.
Yeah.
Okay, you can have a bad once.
So flipping over now to Jason. On your bench, Jason, you went 7 for 27.
Okay, that's a little better than I thought I did, actually. 249.
259. Very close.
Okay.
5 runs, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 1 error. The only thing that plays is that 1 error, but so nice job benching that because you got that win. I just highlighted a couple days where you, not that it matters because none of it played, but Wilmer Flores was an addition this week, but you had trouble getting him into the lineup, specifically Wednesday and Saturday. I believe he homered for you on your bench.
Yeah, and it's kind of the matchup thing because usually he only plays against lefties, and lately they've been playing him more against righties again, and he just doesn't usually hit righties well. So I've been playing that matchup, but it hasn't worked. The other thing I'll call out is Tuesday. I had Julio Rodriguez was scratched like moments before the game started. And I got in the notification and I was just going to an event and I got out of the car and lost all internet signals. And so like I even texted Ben to see like, if he could make a move for me, and which he has said in the past that he could do, but nothing was going through. So I couldn't get Jazz into the center field spot and move Logan or Hoppy into utility spot to get that home run.
Got it.
Because I had no internet. So I was so mad about that. And that was on Tuesday. That was like just starting the week that way. It was just so frustrating.
Right. Yeah, very frustrating. I mean, really though, none of your bench stats wound up playing, so it's not like it was a management issue here. For your transactions, you used all 12 ads, 3 relievers, 4 starters, and 5 hitters. Any of them notable that you would like to speak on?
Not specifically. I made a lot of the moves kind of more for like the longer game guys like John Means. I think I added this week to the IL spot. I know I added Jarrett Kalenic to the IL spot. So kind of like those kind of guys. This Jordan Wicks character I picked up. He was supposed to pitch on Sunday. He ended up pitching on Saturday, and he was brilliant. So that worked out well. Yeah. That's what
Sean Manaea
DJ
started
Stewart
off the week with his terrible relief appearance that I almost did.
Yeah,
like, I remember you picked up Sean Manaea, and I was like, "Oh man, that's a really good idea."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's a great idea. I really wanted to do that," and then it was bad, and I went, "I'm so glad I didn't do that."
You know what? It was some sort of recency bias, I guess, because I done it. I think I did it last week too, and he was good. He was good in that bulk outing. So I was like, okay, let me go to the well one more time, and it was just too many times. So Manaea was not good. Rafael Montero was not good. There was one, DJ Stewart. I picked up DJ Stewart thinking I was just going to have him for one game against, they were going against, I think it was Charlie Morton. I think it was when they were playing Braves. He was going to get Charlie Morton. I was like, maybe he can hit that curveball. He had a horrible game that game, and I held on to him, and he ended up having like a good week, all told. So I was not expecting that from him.
Yeah, the 3 doubles and the no runs is puzzling, but
that's Mets.
I guess that seems like the Mets.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also just want to bring up, because I think it's interesting, we mentioned Manaea, but like that the San Francisco Giants have like all of those bulk starters that are just always available on waiver for whatever reason. It's Junis, it's Alex Wood, it's Manaea, it's Ryan Walker. It's like these guys that just come in and throw 3 innings.
Beck.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Tristan Beck. Yeah.
And you never really know exactly when they're going to come in.
Yeah. Also, Joe, while we're talking about this, I want to give you a shout out for your Ryan Helsley pickup, which I'm pretty mad about. I didn't even see the news that he was like coming back, and then suddenly he's on your team.
Dude, so I was watching a Cardinals game. I don't remember which one it was, and they're interviewing John Mozeliak and talking about all of the injuries that have happened over the year, and brought up Helsley, and they're like, "So how did the MRI come back?" And he says the MRI came back clean. He feels great. He's going to be going back on his rehab assignment, and then the next day is, oh, he's going to be. I picked him up after I heard that like he's going back out on his rehab assignment. Like this is a better play than Mike Yastrzemski, right? So off goes Mike Yastrzemski, and here comes Helsley as one of the 12 ads because I have to just fuck around with IL spot NA. I'm still saving my NA guy for when I have to finish a 12 ad week. Um, but all that being said, I'm happy that he's going to be coming back. I fell into Andrew Kittredge the same way and got a save out of him. I fell into Danny Columby this week with a save the same way.
On one pitch.
on a one pitch strikeout save just to finish out the week and go, you know what, Jason? There's another kick in the side while you're down.
Yeah. I still have the Bruce. Thanks.
I also want to say that I picked up Fernando Cruz and got 2 relief appearances in a doubleheader.
Nice.
Like everything came up roses for me this week.
Yeah. Like that was your plan, right? Fernando Cruz is going to pitch twice tonight.
I was lucky if he got in once, and I got all 3 of the guys I picked up.
Yeah. Real quick, just to highlight Jason's key players here.
Yes.
Your MVP this week, we're going to give to Julio, who has been, pretty hot for you down the stretch here. Julio's stats on the week: 400 with a 526, 3 runs, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 2 steals, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. For your least valuable hitter, I lost it because I stink, is Christian Yelich. This 2 stolen bases were nice, but it didn't like really flip anything. Otherwise, his stats were very mediocre with a 111 and a 304, 4 runs, a double, the 2 steals, like I mentioned, 5 walks, 8 strikeouts, and an error. For your Cy Young this week, we're going to highlight a reliever, Andres Munoz, with 3 saves. Excellent work out of the bullpen. 3 1/3 innings, 3 saves, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, 270 ERA, 150 WHIP, and those 4 relief appearances. For your Cy Young, there were some names to choose from.
Yeah, there were.
I did choose Dylan Cease.
I thought so.
With a 4 1/3, a loss, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 16.62 ERA, 3.23 WHIP, and that was against Oakland, and that's why that man is highlighted.
And that's why I started him.
Good call.
What was the piece you sent to Frank for that? Remind me.
That was part of the Chris Sale deal, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Sale and Merrifield, and I got Cease and it's escaping me now, but that was the crux of it. Yeah.
At season's end, we're going to look back on these trades, and I think when all said and done, Dylan Cease, not the number 5 overall pitcher Frank thought he would be, but definitely not even top 30 at this point. He's just had a bad year, huh?
Yeah, it's gotten worse as the season's gone on. Here it is. It was Jaron Duran. It was Jaron Duran and Cease from Merrifield and Sale.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, that's one I would definitely want to take back.
Jason, I'm sorry I ended your season, man. You had a really, really good run. And if this is more to the middle, then you're probably still in this thing.
Yeah. And again, you know what? The season was going to end at some point anyway. It was a fun ride. And like I said to Mike, I was like, this was the most relaxing week I've had in a long time, especially Sunday. I didn't have to give a damn on Sunday. So it was refreshing. I mean, it's a shame to be, to not still be in it, but at the same time, you guys fight it out, and I'll just warm up the popcorn and watch.
Hey, get at that consolation bracket. You won the thing last year. Come and get it again second time, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move on to the final matchup we're going to highlight here tonight. That's going to be Mike Haber's matchup with Adam Lowenstein. Jason, you did the research on this one, right?
Yeah, this was as Mike put it, a crazy matchup. It was back and forth all week long, to the point where like Mike was winning 13-5, but then he was down 13-6, and it was all over the place all week long. And Mike pulled out the 12-8 win to keep himself in second place. And just to hit on Sunday real quick, on Sunday, runs were tied. Mike, you took that. Adam led in RBIs, walked by a batter, innings pitched, ERA, and WHIP. And Mike flipped all of those on Sunday. Fantastic work, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I applaud you, and yet I say, fuck you, sir. You would have made it much more interesting if you didn't do all of that.
Alas, he did. And yeah, so that was, yeah, that turned the 13-6 into a 12-8, 13-6 deficit into a 12-8 victory, which was outstanding. Good job.
Thank you.
For the close categories, Mike, sir, you win by 4 RBIs, the 1 walk, an inning and 2/3, 2 saves, 4 ticks on the whip, and 2 relief appearances. Adam wins by the triple, 2 errors, and a strikeout by a pitcher, and you guys tied in losses. Mike, for your bench, you go 10 for 36.
Oh, that's not very good. So 10 for 30 is 333. 10 for 40 is 250. So somewhere in there. 304.
No, not that bad.
Okay.
Joe, you got a guess?
278.
Bingo.
Wow.
On the nose. 278.
Well,
yep. 7 runs, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, 6 walks, 14 strikeouts. And none of that played except for the strikeouts. So good job keeping those out of your lineup, and nothing played. So well done, sir.
Thank you.
You used 7 ads, 3 hitters, 2 starters, 2 relievers. You dropped Will Benson for J.P. Crawford, 0 for 4, 2 runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Dropped Bo Briesky for J.P. Franz. More on that guy in a second. So you had a very J.P. Monday. Dropped Jonah Heim for Jock Peterson, 0 for 2 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Dropped Peterson for Will Benson, again 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Dropped J.P. Franz for Jose Soriano, 2 innings, 2 strikeouts, 050 whip, and a relief appearance, and he hit Pete Alonso in the head. So thank you for that.
Okay.
Dropped that guy for Zach Littell, 6 innings, a win, 3 bombs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 6 and 083 against the Yankees, and dropped Will Benson for Tyler Rogers to give you that last inning and a third, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. We'll get through this. Your MVP this week is going to be Marcell Ozuna. Where are you? 524 with a 583, 9 runs, 2 doubles, 5 homers, 10 RBIs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. What has gotten into Marcell Ozuna? Good Lord.
Hey, shout out to Bryce Harper with his 3 and 10.
He is my shout out.
Basically the same line. Like, he essentially has the same line.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. The least valuable hitter is going to be Mike Moustakas, who went 111 with 111, a run, a homer, 2 RBIs, and 7 strikeouts. The Cy Young is going to be Justin Verlander, 11 innings, 2 wins, 3 walks, 16 strikeouts, nothing earned in 091. And, well, the Cy Young is going to be that J.P. France guy, who's no longer on the team, 2 1/3, a loss, 2 bombs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 38-57 and a 5-57. Holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I owned that guy for a long time this season, and I dropped him because it sounded like they were going to take him out of the rotation. And now they might take him out of the rotation again.
Yeah, they probably should. He might need to go see some guy down on the farm. Although he's had a decent year, even with that line. Has a
Yeah,
350.
He
yeah,
had like a great couple of games leading up to that too.
Yeah.
yeah. He doesn't strike anybody out, but that's the only real knock on him.
Yeah. And the fact that ERA and WHIP, I was able to sort of grab those back after he gave up 10 runs in 2 innings.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it
And
was
whatever
bad, but
Giovanni Gallegos did that gave you a 108 ERA here,
yeah, he stinks.
Yeah.
he's not great.
Yeah. Matt Moore
Where'd you
wasn't
get that
very
guy
great.
From you.
All right, flipping over to Adam's team real quick. On his bench, he goes quite similar, 13 for 48.
271.
Nailed it.
The hell? Oh my God. Do you run these
Nailed
scenarios in your mind?
I look at this shit
271.
way too much.
And we need some new numbers. 271, 6 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, and 12 strikeouts. The runs and the RBIs, the only thing that plays, he only needed 3 runs to tie and 4 of the RBIs to tie. 4 RBIs came in 1 game from 3 different players, though. That was on Wednesday. So it's kind of hard to get all of those in if you're juggling, 3 different players. So hard to get all that in, but that was the only thing that really missed. He only used 2 ads, and they came on Sunday. He dropped Aniel De Los Santos and Wade Miley and Christopher Sanchez. He picks up Tristan Beck for the Sunday start against the Braves. 4 1/3, a walk, 5 strikeouts, a 6.23 and 0.92, and Stephen Okert for a clean relief appearance. That's it. For his key players, we're gonna hit up on Seiya Suzuki, 435 with a 519, 6 runs, 5 doubles, the triple, 4 RBIs, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter. Everybody kind of did something in this offense this week, but I guess I'm gonna highlight Gleyber Torres with a 240 and a 269, 3 runs, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, a walk, and 5 Ks. The Cy Young is going to be another former Met, Max Scherzer, 7 innings, a bomb, a walk, 10 strikeouts, 257 and 071. And the Cy Young, I guess, goes to Yu Darvish for 4 innings, a loss, a bomb, a walk, 3 strikeouts, an 11.25 and a 175, and now a trip to the injured list just in time to face me.
Well, that hurts. What the hell happened to him?
Elbow inflammation.
Elbow inflammation. That doesn't sound great.
Warning.
Uh-oh. Mike Haber, when the draft happened, you and I both took the risk on the injured guys to start the season. Bryce Harper versus Jose Altuve. We're coming up toward the end of the season. How do you feel about your selection? And would you want to have traded where I got Altuve versus where you got Harper? Because I don't know how Harper's been doing. I don't know. So.
Yeah,
this...
he's been excellent.
Okay.
It took him a little bit to get into the power stroke. He was getting on base, he was getting his singles, he was drawing his walks, but we're starting to see the power and production coming around now, which is great timing. And I'm thrilled where I got him because there have been weeks where he's carried me. Because where I got Vlad is disgusting based on what he's done. Because he's been terrible for
reference.
Yeah.
For reference, Joe, you got Altuve in the 7th round. Mike got Harper in the 10th round.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. And I know Harper came back first, but I didn't know whether or not he was outperforming Altuve. I know Altuve's hitting like 320 right now. So I didn't know what Harper was doing and how he felt about that.
Yeah. What's his average right now?
Harper?
Yeah.
He's a 306 with 12 homers, 50 RBIs, and 7 steals.
Yeah. No, that's fairly serviceable. Like, it's just when I look at this offense, it's like, oh wow, Ozuna's there and he was bad, but now he's good. And I didn't know how Harper was doing, and Mullins was hurt, and all of a sudden now all your pieces are together.
Yeah.
I guess Vlad is the one major disappointment. comparatively, he hasn't been atrocious. He hasn't been unrosterable, but
Right.
not a first
Yeah.
round.
No, not a first rounder.
Yeah, he's at what 268, 20 homers, 76 RBIs for the season.
Yeah. Mediocre.
Especially on a that's not what you expect out of Vlad.
No. No.
Mike, the playoffs are upon us. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I've said this in previous shows. I'll say it again. This is probably the least confident I've been going into a playoffs, and I'm not even in the playoffs yet. Because I'm only 6 games ahead of the seventh place team with 2 weeks left. Um, which is terrifying, but I like my team. I don't love my team, and that's where we're at going into a week 21 showdown with the commissioner. So,
And the first place team. We're getting one
place.
versus two
Yep.
in week 21. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And don't look now, but 3 and 4 are your brother and me.
I'm terrified.
Yeah. Yeah. I get Bobby as the 4-5 matchup. We got
That's a fun one.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Which could be a rematch in 3 weeks. Potentially.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And for
Well,
Adam, I mean, his season kind of dies here because he doesn't get a win. He really needed to get a win here.
yeah.
In line to do so until your Sunday decided to just crap on his bed. Thanks. Way
Anytime.
to go, Amber Heard all over his playoff chances, man. That wasn't very
Ooh.
nice. Yeah, that's
Ooh.
that reference.
I love that reference because I just watched that. But I got to give Adam credit because he played his ass off this week. Yeah, he didn't use all of his like a ton of his ads, but at the same time, he was adjusting, changing his lineup every day. That Cubs center of the order with Swanson, Happ, and Suzuki, like I felt like every day it was like 10-0 Cubs. It just felt like it was an endless line of Cubs hitting against the worst teams. So kudos to him because I know he added Suzuki off of waivers. I know he added Kerry Carpenter, which was such a savvy ad because this guy kind of came out of nowhere. But I was just impressed with him in general, and like he really pushed me for relief appearances, and that's something I usually can like kind of take. So hats off to him. I think he had an awesome first season.
Absolutely. And you know what? He's got our co-host here, Jason, this week in a matchup of guys that are looking for seeding in that consolation bracket behind whoever's going to miss and have their heart broken with Costas and James McCloskey. Now, this is all sort of sliding itself down into a consolation bracket group. Jason, go get him. Go kick his butt this week.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I can feel it.
All right. Mike, I hope you lose big and you fall out because I don't want to see you in the playoffs. That's not gonna be fun. It's not I don't want Mike Haber in the playoffs. Are you kidding me?
Don't hold back, Joe. Don't hold back.
I won't. I won't. I've been terrible all year. And I've had this great run to the playoffs. And no, seriously, in all seriousness, I want you to finish this thing out. You've had one of the better runs we've seen in a long, long time. I want to see you in the playoffs. I think you, me, and Ben are the safe ones here. I think it's going to come down to the other 4 guys pushing for this one for 3 spots. It's musical chairs, and this is going to suck, but someone's going to have themselves broken at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, but Ben or I could be eliminated based on anything that happens this week. So that's fascinating that the two of us are playing each other. I also want to mention I think that my brother has probably the easiest schedule of the teams that are up there. I think he's playing a couple of bottom teams in the last 2 weeks, and then everyone else is playing at least someone that's contending. But
Yeah, I've got Bobby this week.
yeah, Ben and I have each other.
Ben and you. Josh has
Brian Lebo
Brian
and Ari.
Lebo.
And
Yeah.
Ari. Yeah.
And Frank and Costas have each other. That is That is a grudge match that we're looking at this week. That might be front and center this week, aside from the 1-2.
Yeah, and we always like count Costas out when he's like mathematically like almost out, and
This is
I don't
exactly
think
the
we should
spot
do it.
where, yes, this is exactly the spot where I haven't sort of mentioned him because he is right there. Is like if he blows Frank out and then has a big week 22, he could do this.
Oh
So
yeah.
I don't want to count this dude out because I did last year and he proved me wrong.
If he
Not
wins
doing it again.
if he wins 15-5 this week, he's right in the
He's got a
playoff.
shot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely has
And
a
by the
shot.
way,
So
like if that happens, his week 22 is against Henry, which is going to be a slobber knocker too.
a playing game. That's a playing game at that point.
That's fun.
A win and you're not necessarily in, but a lose and you're definitely type of match.
Yep.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for being here with me. I know this one was a little bit difficult given the circumstances of this minimum, but I really love the conversation that we had, and hopefully the rest of the league hearing this will get to our commissioner and let them know what they think. Is this in fact part of the league? Is this something that we need to lower or raise the minimum about? Do we need to raise or lower the moves limit? And how do we feel about the commissioner reaching out to folks that he sees that are going to miss the minimum? Should this be something that he's doing? Or again, is this just part of the league and it happens once or twice a year? Let us know. Specifically, let Ben. Jason Ashby, thank you so much for being here tonight, my friend.
Absolutely, absolutely. Despite the horrible week that I had, it's always fun being here, and I love talking baseball with you guys. Mike, it was great seeing you again. This is always a fun time for me.
Yes, Mike, thank you so much for being here, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you both again for welcoming me back with open arms. And it's the highlight of my week. I love it. So thank you guys.
Oh my God, Jose Altuve just hit a run homer, and now he's gone 4 for 6 tonight. Bobby, hi. I hope you're still listening. I'm sorry if I have to do exactly what I just did to Jason this week. We'll see.
And he's not sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. We wouldn't have this without you guys. It's been real and fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.